For 2 days straight, Thailand was hammered by a flood disaster so powerful that it reshaped everything in its path. What began as a persistent rainstorm quickly transformed into a nationwide emergency. Entire districts dissolved into endless sheets of brown water, and before the sun even rose, Bangkok, a sprawling megacity larger than New York, awoke to a nightmare unfolding in real time. Highways that once served millions cracked open under the pressure of rising currents. Cars bobbed like helpless toys in swirling water. Neighborhoods vanished behind walls of muddy floodwater that climbed from ankle-deep to waist-deep to over a meter high in just minutes. The city's drainage network, usually struggling but functional, collapsed almost immediately under the weight of sudden, relentless rain. But even Bangkok, with all its infrastructures, resources, and manpower, was not the true epicenter of this unfolding catastrophe. Farther north, in the rural district of Inburi, a decades-old flood barrier, already weakened by constant pressure, finally buckled. No alarms, no warnings, just a violent, deafening collapse. Within seconds, a massive surge of water exploded into the surrounding villages. Homes were smashed apart like cardboard. Rice fields, just days away from harvest, were swallowed whole. Families sprinted for higher ground, clutching children, pets, and anything they carry. Some weren't fast enough. Volunteers rushed into the chaos with boats, ropes, and makeshift rafts. Entire communities were swept off their foundations. Wooden homes tore free and drifted across open fields. Livestock drowned. Power poles toppled. What had been a peaceful rural region just hours earlier was now a wasteland of debris, broken walls, floating rooftops, and cries for help cutting to the roar of rushing water. As rescue teams fought their way through Inburi, another disaster ignited downstream.
น้ำไหลแรงครับไหลแรงมากยึดให้อยู่พอครับโอ้โหไม่รู้เอาลุยไปเรือเราเลยอยู่กับเพจดิ้งดองนะครับผมวัดยาดิ้งดองนะครับเขาน้อยนะครับตอนนี้น้ำท่วมมากเลยครับผมระดับ4ครับเรียบร้อยฮะฝนตกหนักมาก
เดตสถานการณ์ตอนนี้นะเจ้าคุณลุงนั้นจะมิดขึ้นจะถึงชั้นแรกจะมิดแล้วครับเขานี่กะเหรียญเขาค่ะโอ้ตึงใส่กระจกเลยเนาะ เมืองน่านเรียบร้อยจบ
Ayutthaya, Thailand's ancient royal capital, a UNESCO World Heritage treasure, slipped beneath 3 meters of water. Images that emerged shocked the world. Centuries-old temples standing half-submerged, golden statues rising above dark swirling currents, floating cars trapped against monastery walls, entire villages reduced to islands. What took decades to preserve was nearly erased in a weekend. Within 48 hours, the central region of Thailand looked like a newly formed sea. 17 provinces were underwater, more than 9 million acres submerged. Roads snapped, bridges vanished under the surface. Communication lines fractured. Emergency responders found themselves navigating towns with boats usually reserved for ocean rescue. Satellite images told the story in terrifying detail. The Chao Phraya Basin had expanded far beyond its natural limits. Canals spilled into roads. Roads spilled into neighborhoods. Neighborhoods spilled into open fields. Everything connected into one massive inland ocean stretching as far as the horizon. In Bangkok, chaos multiplied. By dawn on November 13th, a powerful rain band swept through the capital, dumping more than 4 inches of rain before most residents had even woken up. Streets that had been dry at 3 a.m. were waist-deep by 8. People in apartment buildings stepped outside their doors only to find water rising around their ankles. Entire blocks lost electricity. Parking garages flooded to the ceiling. Thousands of cars were abandoned mid-traffic as water climbed past the windows. Ratcheter Road, a major city artery, became a river with cars drifting sideways as people climbed onto rooftops waiting for boats. Drainage pumps ran at full capacity but were overwhelmed within minutes. The city, known for its resilience during monsoon season, found itself outmatched before it had time to react. Meanwhile, upriver reservoirs had reached breaking point, with nowhere left contained the rising water.
Follow.
โอ้โต้เขาไปหมดแล้ว ดูครับตอนนี้กลายเป็นทะเลไปแล้วตรงนี้จากจุดที่ยูเทิร์นนะครับดูรถเล็กพยายามที่จะยูเทิร์นกลับไปนะครับเริ่มไม่ไหวละโอ้บอกว่าไม่ไหวอย่าฟื้นไม่ไหวอย่าฟื้นเนี่ยรถใหญ่ก็พยายามจะ
หนักเลยครับหัวหน้าแป๊บเดียวลูกพี่ไม่นานตกแป๊บเดียวไวมากป่าตองภูเก็ตไวมาก
Emergency dam releases reported. Millions Thousands of cubic meters of water thundered downstream, adding unstoppable force to a system already drowning. It was a chain reaction. Extreme rainfall, overflowing rivers, saturated soil, failing levees, dam discharges, all happening at once. Farmers across the Central Plains watched helplessly as their livelihoods dissolved. Rice paddies, fruit orchards, fish farms, everything submerged. Entire year-long harvests erased in hours. Livestock struggled to find dry ground as barns and stables collapsed under the weight of floodwater. The economic shockwave will take years to recover from. Ayutthaya suffered some of the most heartbreaking losses. Temples older than entire nations flooded. Priceless murals risked permanent damage. Shrines, relics, and entire monastic complexes were left vulnerable to erosion and waterlogging. Volunteers waded through chest-deep water, carrying sacred artifacts in their arms, hoping to save what they could. In total, more than 947 villages in the region were forced to evacuate. Tens of thousands of families were left with nothing but the clothes on their backs. Entire neighborhoods will need to be rebuilt from scratch once the water recedes. Meteorologists later confirmed what many already suspected. This was not a normal monsoon event. It was a once-in-decades collision of atmospheric forces, a compound monsoon surge. Moist tropical air collided with a wave of cold northern wind, amplifying rainfall to extreme levels. With four major rivers swollen upstream and the land fully saturated, the country was simply defenseless. What happened in Thailand in 2025 was not just another flood. It was a warning that extreme weather is accelerating, a warning that infrastructure built decades ago is no longer enough, a warning that cities and rural regions alike must brace for storms more violent than ever before. As the water slowly begins to retreat, Thailand faces a long and painful recovery, rebuilding homes, repairing farmlands, reinforcing levees, restoring cultural landmarks, and helping millions reclaim their lives. But the question remains, one that grows louder with each disaster. Are we witnessing natural cycles or a planet shifting faster than we're prepared to handle?